Good afternoon and welcome to Lunchtime Shares with Kevin, where we add value to people's lives. Happening every Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 12 on ebizradio.com. You can catch the Lunchtime series on all major podcast channels today. For our Lunchtime marketing segment proudly supported by Hollard Insurance, #Big Ads for Small Business. As per usual, joining me on the marketing and communications expert, Craig Page-Lee. How you doing, Craig?
Well, Kevin, thanks. I still need to get my head around that statement each time you introduce me. There's still too many things to learn in this game to be an expert yet. God, but I'll try.
Well, you're giving a good shot, I must tell you.
Thanks.
Craig, so during last week's conversation, you introduced us to a number of brands that have been developed and launched on the African continent, and you definitely got me thinking about what can be done so more of these brands, not just to find out their way up in the global brand rankings, but actually into the hearts and the minds of consumers in Africa. There surely has to be a platform or a way for these brands to achieve great success, Craig.
Yeah, Kevin, good question. Let's just take a step back then for a moment. Let's just say that, what was really great is I learned a hell of a lot on brands I've never heard of before when prepping for prepping the content for last week's show, Kevin. Phenomenal opportunity just to be exposed to brands that you and I probably would never have heard of until we had the show last week. So then going back to your question, I don't actually have the outright answer in that magic bullet what will actually help them raise up the rankings and be loved in hearts and minds. But irrespective of those initiatives, I think it's important to understand that it's not going to be easy for the locally produced developed brands on the continent, purely because of the fact that it's really difficult to challenge the international brands with the excessive marketing and advertising spend that they have. So yeah, that definitely is it's a reality, yet at the same time it is a fairly broad statement, because there are inevitably a couple of good local brands that do or could get some great financial support and really help them challenge those international brands, and we are seeing one or two come to the fore in that regard.
So, I mean, as you say, Craig, they must offer some kind of unique and obviously something quite unique and obviously must need to meet a core human need to grow to the scale that the global competition are achieving. So before we continue, you mentioned to us last week that we might have a special guest on the show today. Can you share with us who that is?
Yeah, Kevin, yeah, absolutely. Firstly, a great point you make, but we'll get back to that. Yes, today, not just one guest, Kevin, but two special guests, which is really, really exciting. And for our listeners, in support of Hollard's Big Ads for Small Business campaign, each month we host one of the 12 SMEs that was selected to benefit from having their respective businesses gain exposure across Hollard Insurance's advertising and media platform. And today we welcome Lesego Seloane and Dinah Kgeledi of Ronewa Creations to the show. Welcome, ladies.
Welcome, guys. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much for this great opportunity. It's really great to be joining you this episode.
Yeah, fantastic. Really, really is.
Thank you, guys. Lesego, before we continue with the show, we usually just recap our key takeaway points for our listeners from last week. So, Craig, if you want to kick it off with that recap points, and then we're going to head off straight into our conversation today.
Yeah, thanks, Kevin. So, referencing the Brand Africa 100, Africa's Best Brands Ranking 2021 report, which, as we know, is the brainchild of Tebe Kalafeng, we learned the following from last week, that there's positively a 28% change between 20 and 2021 in the rankings, with a few more of those local upstart brands appearing in the top 25, and that's an important acknowledgement of the local brands. But interestingly, most of those are in the apparel category. Good to see two of the brands are South African brands as well. The first is the sneaker brand Batu, which entered at position number 10. Batu was founded by Thea Beloyi. He sold his first 100 pairs of his sneakers in 2015, and he opened his first retail store in in Newtown, Johannesburg in 2018. So, he's obviously gaining from strength to strength. The second is the popular streetwear and lifestyle brand Loxian Kulka, which entered at position number 16. And then the third of those apparel brands is actually an Ethiopian brand, Soul Rebels, which entered at position number 19. Again, some of the brands that really stood out for me was also the African automotive brands. And these guys are making headway in a category that is really, really been challenged from, an investment point of view and the technical requirements in place there. But we saw the likes of Ghana's Kantaka automobile brand, which designs, manufactures, assembles and sell luxury cars, making its way into position 24. And then Innocent Motors, which is a Nigerian automotive and bus manufacturing company that manufactures, and this is a great point to note, manufactures vehicles with 70% of the parts being locally produced, Kevin, while sourcing the rest from Japan, China, and Germany. It made its way in at position number 13. While locally developed African brands only represent 13% of the top 100, the financial services sector is definitely making headway, and it is the only sector where we see African brands dominating, with over 75% of the local brands making up the top 25. So, really good to see that. Yeah, unfortunately, Kevin, Africa continues to be dominated by the international brands, with European brands representing 41% of the top 100, North American brands representing 30% of the top 100, Asian brands representing 16%, and as I mentioned earlier, African brands only representing 13% share of the Brand Africa 100, Africa's Best Brands ranking. So in closing there, this was quite an interesting learning as well. The 5 categories stood out where the most of representation came through. It was in the consumer non-cyclical space, 20 brands are represented in the category. In the electronics and computer space, 17 brands are represented in the category. In the auto manufacturer brands, I only touched on 13 brands are represented in the category. Interestingly, luxury brands, there's still as many as 8 brands represented during the tough economic times that we've seen on the back of COVID. And then apparel brands, 8 brands represented. And as I say, 2 of those being South Africans in the top 25.
Fantastic. Thank you, Craig. And ladies, thank you for bearing with us, and welcome to the show. So to kick it off, I'm going to head on straight to asking questions here. From what I've learned, you are both related to each other, and that you are inspired by another family member to venture into a world of gardening and landscaping. 3 generations, in fact. Is that true? Dinah,
Yes, it is so true and so unreal, but it's really, really amazing. I mean, we take our inspiration from my grandmother and Dinah's mother. Like Dinah is my aunt, and so that's 3 generations effectively in the garden, just having time, enjoying what South Africa has to offer when it comes to the variety of plants that we have. So yeah, that's basically where we get our inspiration.
Amazing. And essentially, the name itself, where did that originate?
All right. So how we started the business, obviously it was because I did botany in varsity, and then from my experience learning plants at a scientific level, and then really discovering what exactly do I want to do after finishing varsity. And then my grandmother then sparked an interesting route to the fact that I am a creative somebody, and the fact that I do love plants. And she said, why don't you go and pursue landscaping? And so I then pursued landscaping, and then Dinah was like, you know what, we grew up in a house where we had very different plants, different types of plants in Soweto, and she spent most of her time there. And from that point onwards, we then thought, let us definitely open up the business. And the special part about the name is actually Dinah's second daughter, Ronewa, which means given. And so we believe that we have been given everything, to make beautiful creations. And we always say our slogan is love your surroundings. And it's been such an amazing journey to actually fuse our passion with what, we actually know, and fuse our passion with with our day-to-day living. We actually from site right now, and it's a really amazing thing to, do what you love and make money out of it.
Yeah.
I love that, and I'm just thinking, the previous I did a recording on a previous conversation now, and one of the slogans or lines he used was "create your own climate." So it's almost like love your surroundings, and when you do, you cultivate that, and to add to that sentiment is the inspiration that it's Women's Month, and we celebrated Women's Day just recently. Is that something you guys celebrate?
Yes, definitely. We do celebrate women and the fact that women are like the builders of society. We really celebrate women, and being Women's Month, we really love to see women being empowered and really celebrated for the kind of work that they do in society and the economy at large in South Africa, because we see women coming up quite a lot lately, and it's quite an amazing thing to see. And even some of our clients, we see how they are also, pursuing their own little thing on the side, their side hustles. And it's really encouraging to see this from day to day, on our day-to-day, journeys, and learning from other people, and interacting with the different people that we do from time to time. And it's very encouraging to see that even in the lockdown, there's been so many women. I mean, the other day, one of our newest clients, she was expressing how she's now baking these treats for her dogs. And from that point, she's now baking these treats for her clients and her neighbors. And so It's been really great to see that, and it crosses against different races, which is really amazing to see. And various races, exactly. And it's such an amazing thing to see. And we always strive to support each other as much as possible. And it's just an amazing journey. Yeah.
Yeah, that's absolutely incredible. It really is. Yeah, and it's not an easy career you've chosen, especially considering the physicality of the offering and the knowledge required in terms of the soils, the seasonality, and all of the other environmental challenges that go with it, But that said, what's important is we know that SMMEs are a major driver of economic growth in South Africa, and obviously are significant contributors to job creation. So with that in mind, how did you go from taking that passion about gardening and launch your business? And how many employees do you have at any one time in the business?
Sure. That is such an amazing question, because when we initially started, we really didn't know how potentially big the company could be, and the fact that it's so seasonal, and we are learning now more than ever that actually our business is not as seasonal as we thought it would be, because even in our winter months, we find ourselves quite busy, and it's quite an encouraging thing to learn that we could be positive contributors to the economy of our country. And so recently we now have 10 full-time employees, including myself and Dinah. And we see ourselves growing so much that, we're having interviews every week, especially now with the Hollard campaign. We're having interviews every week, and we're seeing ourselves getting the bigger contracts and getting the more sustainable contracts, which we never thought we would get to this point. Because initially it was just about our passion and doing what we love and, being in people's gardens and making them pretty. But now it's so much more that we know and see with our guys to how confident they have now become with their lives and, looking after their families, because they have this platform or this environment where it's a dignified job. Gardeners are looked down upon. And, it's just one of those things that, yes, your normal household has a gardener, but how they are treated sometimes is really not so on the brighter side of things, even though they're working with these amazing creatures, our flowers and all of that. But we tend to think of it holistically and, think of how much we are empowering and the lives of people that are being changed with the potential people that we could actually employ in the business, seeing that we are growing and seeing how viable the business is. And it's very, very amazing to learn that from now onwards, we will be talking more than 10 full-time employers. And with the more long-term contracts that we are receiving, it's very encouraging. And we are for sustainability more than anything right now. And we want to make sure that we can be those positive contributors.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it's amazing. You listen to this and you kind of go, in the times that we live, you have people like yourselves, and you're kind of going, you're out there making it happen. You're employing 10 people out of one business. It's phenomenal. So congratulations on that point. I'm also intrigued to understand how you developed and formalized your knowledge and the understanding of the industry, especially as you mentioned earlier that this career spawned out of a passion for and love for flowers and gardening.
Yeah, it was very difficult in the beginning because being women, Dinah can express how we were never really taken seriously in the beginning. Yeah. And and formalizing ourselves, we had to really make sure that we have the know-how, even though we may have this passion and we have lived around plants all our lives. And, my grandmother, her mother being so passionate about plants, tending her garden and all of that, but it was a very limited knowledge. And even she would say that, you really need to take this further. And she's very proud of us and how we did it. We went to school. I did my BSc in botany and biochemistry, and then did landscaping. Then Dinah came through and, she resigned from an IT background. Very corporate IT background, and she was doing very well at that time. And then she went to go do horticulture and landscaping, just so that we can, better understand the space that we're going to go into. And we actually know everything that has to do with landscaping. People get so surprised at how we pick out plants around us and, go with these scientific names and, speak about these plants. It's like, this is so fascinating. Like, isn't this gibberish? This philodendron that's behind you and Kevin, and people are like, what did you just say? And we had to build our credibility in the first 3 years, our profile, and really build the confidence that we needed in our team, in our very team, to learn to say that, yes, you may have traditionally, gender roles that guys would always be in the gardens, but we too can be in the garden. We know what it all entails as well. And we're more nurturing. And so we are actually properly placed in the garden as women, because it's a very it's a detail thing more than anything. It's not just about mowing the lawn and getting out of the place. You have to really be making sure, are you mowing it at the right millimeters? Are you giving it the right food? Are you watering it enough in the right times with all the water scarcity problems? It's very technical, scientific, and it makes it so much easier when you actually understand the functionality behind the garden. When we walk into a client's house, we see it all in our eyes. It just comes alive before our eyes. And we always take an opportunity to actually give that awareness and teach our clients and teach whoever that may come in our space to say, it's more than just a beautiful space. It's so much more than just a beautiful space. And so we really, yeah.
So I just want to add, and rightfully so, you must use all of those language and words that nobody understands. Just add to that, and then add 10% to your price.
Yes, and just add 10%. Yes.
Yeah. Brilliant. Yeah. So taking that incredible feedback into account, ladies, I'm sure there are a host of learnings and effort actually helped you land yourself this opportunity with Hollard Insurance to benefit from their big brand for small business campaign. And just listening to you ladies now, I can guarantee you that you probably gave the same level of passion and commitment into your presentation. Could you share some of that experience that you had from the moment you were contacted by by Hollard Insurance to participate in the program to the first time you saw yourselves on the respective media channel that was selected to help grow awareness around your brand?
It's an emotional one. like, times where we would drive around and Dinah's daughter would be like, that's you on that billboard. Or when other family members would be like, we're so proud of you guys. And it's a very overwhelming response. But from the first day when we, did that application and went through the vetting process, and it was so, it was done in such an amazing way, to point where I sit back and think, my goodness, how they did it in the lockdown, and ensuring that we are informed along the journey, and we are our expectations were managed very well. I remember I had anxiety like nobody's business. I mean, it was anxiety on COVID level, and now there's this Hollard big ads for small businesses. I'm like, how are we gonna survive? The whole of December was not nice for me. I was so stressed out. And yeah, man, Dinah, how's it been for you?
It's been a roller coaster. It's been an emotional journey. From where we come from to where we are now, we are so proud of ourselves. Yeah, we are very happy where we're at.
Very, very happy. And the influx of the clients, it's crazy. I mean, we walk into boardrooms now and we pitch, and the moment we mention Hollard, they're like, okay, can we get the CEO of the company to actually take note of these girls, and let's get them in our team. Let's get them in, our payroll or whatever. They just want us to be there. They just want us to do the irrigation. I mean, now the scope becomes so larger, and the way in which we have presented ourselves, it has built confidence over the years. And now that we are seeing all our dreams come to life before our eyes, it's something else. And we sometimes wish we could freeze this moment and take note and reflect of all the different lessons, but it's so fast paced, and we are very grateful. We are extremely, extremely grateful. It's been an amazing 17 months, or I don't know, 12 months. I don't know. It's been great, because the vetting process took a while, and then now shooting. I mean, the team that we had, they were like 50 plus, I think, and it was all about us. Everybody was just there looking at us, checking our boots, checking our gloves. Like we've never experienced anything like that before. And yeah, we feel very, very special.
That's fantastic.
Grateful, yeah.
I just want to add to that. Like it's so inspiring to hear that, because as a coach, as in a position what I do, I always use the slogan of going, how do you become the hero of your own story? And like listening to you guys, when someone points out on a billboard, hey, there's you, it's so inspirational, and you kind of go, not in your wildest dreams that you ever imagine, okay, cool, I'll be on a billboard and I'll have this business, and here you are living that dream and that potential. So it's just amazing to hear that.
Yeah, absolutely, Kevin. Yeah, just in light of the platforms that were selected to represent your brand, was it just the billboards, or did you get some exposure on some of the digital or other channels? How did they make that decision for you and with you?
So from our understanding, with the vetting process, they had to check our turnover and check where we are localized, and check what kind of work we do and to which kind of clients would we be appealing to. So we got radio ads, we got newspaper ads, spanning over 30 days, if I'm not mistaken. That was earlier on in the campaign. And then we also got digital ads. So we have a lot of these pop-ups that come up on YouTube and Instagram and Facebook. And we also have a bit of Twitter as well. And then they also put our website on their website. And so it pops up from their website, and we have more clicks now on our website. And, it was a very challenging thing, because now we were learning everything so quickly, because now the turnaround was much faster, because the financial, investment on their end was so much greater. With us, we wouldn't have achieved something like that on our own. And so we had to learn how we need to manage our requests and the influx that we've been receiving. And so systems were now an immediate thing in our business, and, you know, making sure that these things flow. And we had thought about it thoroughly before, but now when you're seeing it happening, it's a totally different thing from your planning. And so we had to do a lot of our trial and error, you know, in this time. And even during the campaign, we get, you know, meetings with the Hollard team to assist us as we navigate this space further. Just recently, we were helped by a group of MBA students with Gibbs, who was, you know, just assigned to look at our business and check what are the key things we should be focusing on for our next level in our growth. And so the support has been so great. And very emotional, but, you know, it was very thought through, which we really are grateful for. Oh yeah, so we also got billboard ads, and it's in the entire south of Johannesburg because we are in Soweto, so they targeted our ads and our media coverage to Soweto and the south of Johannesburg.
You actually made some really interesting points. So firstly, baptism of fire. I get that. It's
Yes.
phenomenal that you managed it. And I think you probably have had the most incredible trajectory of learning relative to the different media channels and how to create your content and be ready for it and things like that, which is just phenomenal. And then also, you know, most importantly, the one thing that I took from Heidi when Heidi was on the show is they made a lot of effort to ensure that the success of the campaign wasn't going to break your business, because obviously, you know, as you've mentioned rightly so, now you've had some phenomenal success and definitely are landing new projects and things like that, but it's about just ensuring that they're there in the background to help you through that journey so that you can actually cope with the number of inquiries and manage the delivery, and that you don't compromise your quality at the same time as well. Yeah, so well done.
Thank you so much.
Absolute pleasure, ladies. So I want to pick up on your journey from being inspired by your family to, you know, going to launch this business that is now proving to be a successful business. And in that, I want to reference an important article we covered recently titled 10 Reasons Why Small Businesses Fail. This was posted on the 15th of March, 2021 on the lightspeedhq.com site. And the article addresses the 10 reasons which are as follows: no business planning or poor planning, failure to understand customer behavior today, inventory mismanagement, unsustainable growth, lack of sales, something you're not battling with at the moment, trying to do it all, underestimating administrative tasks, refusal to pivot, lack of data, and lastly, poor management. So which 2 points out of those 10 do you believe have been the most challenging for you in launching your business as entrepreneurs and running your business as an SMME in South Africa, Lesego and Dinah?
Yeah, very great points. And I think a lot of SMMEs struggle with all of these. And for us, underestimating administrative tasks and trying to do it all, you know, on the administrative tasks, I think it's, you know, everything that we do is managed on paper and managed. We have different teams on the ground. We need to schedule, there's just so many things that we need to do that are very admin heavy. And once we lose track of all of that, we lose track of the control in the business, and we don't really know what's happening at any given point. And then trying to do it all as directors and co-founders in the business, it's been tough because we then, you know, have been trying to do it all. But, you know, we're learning that we need to trust our guys more, trust our management team, and just trust everybody that's on board to build this vision alongside us. So those two come out quite top for us.
So, guys, I want to just touch on point number 4, unsustainable growth, and point number 5, lack of sales. As mentioned by Craig, how are you leveraging social media and digital channels to expand your business and the growth of your brand?
Sure, that's a lovely one. This is a great passion of ours. In fact, when we started the business, we were thinking, how best can we be different to other people, other garden services or other landscaping companies. And so we've learned that we have a great mix between the two of us. Dinah is much older than I am. Okay, not much older. Definitely not much older, because we relate so well. But coming from with me, I'm coming from your social media, school of thought, or just being on social media quite a lot. And
You're
then she never really. Yes, I'm a millennial. I'm pretty old, but pretty something old. Not too old, but I understand it. We would go back and forth and not really agree on this one thing, on how we're gonna market ourselves. And I was like, we have to be on social media, even though we were not so amazing when we first started. But the fact that we were on social media, and how our peers, maybe the two groups, the two age differences, our peers have been growing with us over the years. And now with me, somebody who was never interested in gardening or landscaping in the past, when I was 25, is now more interested in it. And we've grown with our audience over the years, to say now our audience is like, whenever they think of a garden, they think of us, even though we're not so big on social media right now, because our numbers aren't so great, but our niche is covered. And people understand what we're doing. They understand our value, they understand our value proposition, to a point where somebody could be sitting somewhere in some restaurant and they literally send us pictures and they're like, Lesego, I think you should come over and see this place that I'm at, and they really need you guys to help them. And this person has no clue what landscaping or gardening is all about, but because they've grown with us on social media, so it has been very important for us to really master that very, very, very smartly, I think, in a smart manner, I guess.
So just one more question is, so in terms of with lockdown, how did the business manage through lockdown, and how do you see yourselves expanding the business as lockdown eases?
Sure. That was one of the toughest moments ever. I think because when we got into lockdown, it was in March, and our business kind of goes a bit slow around those months. And so we plan a lot in the winter months, even though we may have like a big project that we may be executing. So in the month, in your winter months, we had nothing. And we only went back to operating when we had 4 months left in the year 2020. And in that time, from August, September, we were the busiest ever in our whole, lifespan of the business, because now people were spending a lot of time at home and they were realizing that their gardens aren't looking up to shape. And being at home and cooked up in your office space, you still want to go outside and have that feel of that office feel, because most of your office parks are really lush and they have amazing gardens, and there's just so much that you get on a productivity perspective, where these places are built intentionally so that people can be more productive. And so we got to see ourselves doing a lot of renovations in those 4 months, and we were very surprised. So our business really did well last year, considering the fact that we were not operational for so many months, and then in the last 4 months we did quite well without even kicking in the campaign as yet, because the campaign only started in February this year. And so we learned that because we've been so busy pushing our value add and what we are all about, people started to see that, they need to work on their gardens. People would be buying houses and they would rather focus on their outdoors compared to, working on the renovations indoors, which we found very interesting. And it was really encouraging to learn that we have pushed ourselves so much. And it was difficult to stay afloat. So what we did when we were like not operating garden services or any landscaping, we actually started a WhatsApp business, strategy of actually delivering vegetables, So we would wake up every weekend and go get supplies, and we grew some of our vegetables in the time. And we did that. We had to pivot. We had to get some money in the business, whatever money we could get in the business, because we had people we had to, pay, even though we were not paying the full salaries and all of that. But we tried our level best to stay active so that we don't, the entrepreneur in us shouldn't die in that time. Which was really great to see that we were very resilient and we still had that passion to, stay up and work and push ourselves beyond, all that we were faced with.
Amazing.
It absolutely is, survival. That's fantastic. So yeah, Kevin, a great question there, and thanks for that, because we really got some wonderful insights on the sustainability of your business during those trying times. So picking up on that question, and you have alluded slightly to it in your response there, Lesego, is, what are you doing about future-proofing your business against any other such eventualities, like another lockdown or who knows, there could be drought or something else that we're faced with. What are you considering to ensure sustainability of your business?
Yeah, so we always try to, one of our strongest points is the fact that we are quite futuristic, and the number of things that we have been able to do in the last 6 years, one being winning a sustainability challenge, where we did that with the city of Tshwane, where we won the water harvesting. We had an innovation in water harvesting because we could see that there's this crisis and it could potentially just stop us from actually operating, even though we are still small scale, but we are thinking of those as we are growing. And so the lessons that we took from COVID is that we always need to make sure that we are thinking beyond what our main service offering is. And because business is such a universal thing, I believe that we can actually, do any type of business as long as we understand the principles and understand what needs to be done in order for you to make that sale. And so it has been an amazing time to learn so much in, the pandemic, and learning that we have different strengths in this space, and we've been leveraging so much because we're working on small quantities. We're working on making sure that we leverage the different budgets for the different departments and all of that. And that has helped us to see how we can actually stretch on the different things that we have. And should we be confronted with such a pandemic in the future, or anything that will potentially put us out of business, I think we could definitely be able to, start a new business, or, pivot and change certain things about what we are currently doing. And we have an in-depth knowledge of our industry, because gardening and landscaping is not all there is to the green side of life or the green industry. There's just so many other things that we have been learning, and we have taken upon ourselves to actually strengthen our research. And that's what we have done in the last year, that we have found as one of our strongest pillars, to actually, strengthen our research so that we can always be aware of what the industry has to offer, and take advantage of all the opportunities in the space.
Yeah, that's fantastic. It really is. And, it's great to hear that, because one of my other thoughts there was, a big challenge we faced with, not just on this continent, but in reality, a huge challenge on this continent is obviously food security, and very much in South Africa as well. What do you see any opportunities to diversify, to get into the food production environment, become a wonderful supplier to the likes of Woolworths? They've got these incredible food organic farming programs, and they're buying from local farmers and things like that, because really you've got such phenomenal knowledge. You talk about innovation and water harvesting and things like that. Surely there's a wonderful parallel opportunity for you in that regard.
Definitely. And the number of opportunities that are out there are just so great that sometimes you want to just focus and, get this one thing right. But definitely in the future, we are looking into going into these different spaces. And it's been so great because now we have dabbled in the different little industries that we believe that we are so knowledgeable in, and we have seen that we can actually go on the growing side. Even if we don't probably grow to solve the problem of food security, maybe we could grow to actually solve the problem of health issues, seeing how Artemisia afra has been such on such a great demand in the last year alone, and so there's just so many things. And if one just plunges themselves in the space, they realize that you're really not going to run out of things to do. You just need to make sure that you do what you can do right now and do it right, then move on to the next thing. So yeah, definitely.
No, absolutely. Yeah. You ladies might not know, but my career background spans many years as working as an architect, both here and in London as well. And one of the most incredible things is the role that the urban fabric and landscape and environment plays in the completion of any built environment. And the contribution that landscaping brings to the green lung of the building, but just being able to help complete from a design point of view. It's not just the physical structure, it's that soft fabric that really integrates and becomes a whole of the design as well. Are you making inroads with some of the architects and developers and things like that?
Yeah, we are. Because now it's it's a huge influx, and sometimes like, where do we take the business? And we've just decided we want to be more sustainable right now and have the long-term contracts on the maintenance side of things. But we're also learning that the bigger guys have stopped building buildings right now. Most recently, one of our biggest clients, they are just focusing on their property rental part of the business. They were big on construction, and they have many years of experience in the country and all around the world in terms of building buildings and all of that. So we are trying to build relationships with the key players in the space. So we really are seeing ourselves grow in our different partnerships and how we can leverage the space further than just maintaining, or further than just doing landscaping for different houses, but also doing landscaping on a broader scale, or broader projects, or bigger projects. So we are looking into all of that.
That's fantastic. Yeah, and then just another question in light of that is, will you see yourself building a mentorship program as well? Because the great opportunity here is, you ladies are very hands-on. You've got all the scientific and technical knowledge, and being a hands-on business, it's a nice, easy way to do skills transfer, as opposed to you disengaged sitting in a corporate office and you've got teams out in the field. You're very much embedded in the delivery of the business as well. Are you seeing yourself in the near future being able to bring on some young interns and really grow them into the business and make a future success of new young skill?
Yeah, Craig, with every question, it's like the foresight in the questions that you have, because everything right now, it's like we've thought about these different things over and over the years, and it's coming to life. And one of the other things that have just recently happened, somebody was like, we can't let go of our current team, but because of the knowledge that you have, can you rather then train our team? And this is a big client, which we never thought we would ever get. And the mentorship side of things, definitely, because we are so hands-on, very correct, and mentoring even on the business acumen, or mentoring on just starting something. And I mean, we were reflecting the other day saying, startups are no child play, and we are taking that in our stride, and we are saying, we can't live with the kind of information that we have and keep it ourselves, we try by all means to share what we can share with the communities that we surround ourselves with, and on personal development, on youth leadership, youth mentorship, youth development rather. And we have been quite busy in that space, and we are trying our level best to train as much as we can and probably even formalize it further. Something as simple as learning your plants, or knowing what to grow in your house, or just the overall water sustainability thing, and being a sustainable citizen in your different things, and just taking this home of saying you really need to love your surroundings. We get so irritated when somebody throws out papers outside of their car. We're like, but honestly, can we not do such thing? And because we are so aware of our space and what we are doing, these opportunities are like really, really coming at us quite fast. And we are trying to manage that as much as possible and seeing how best we can, be those contributors in our community.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I just want to say, Woolworths, if you are listening, we have some amazing entrepreneurs right here that are waiting to start a farm. I just think it's amazing. I think everything you're doing, even the way you guys speak about it, like it's amazing to hear that, and the fact that you've taken action, and even lockdown, challenged the way you do business, and you reinvented that, and started upskilling and doing what you needed to do to make it happen. So well done. I just sit here in awe and listening to how brilliant this is.
Yeah, fantastic.
Thank you so much.
So Dinah, Lesego, one closing question from my side for you, please. What is the most important standout point or piece of advice that you would give any aspiring young entrepreneur, or anybody who's interested in launching their own business?
Lesego is giving this to me now. This is Dinah. Because she talks so well, I keep quiet, Good question. Thank you, Craig. Aspiring young entrepreneurs out there would say, start. The beginning is very important. A lot of people who approach us, they've got so many ideas that we hear every single day. How can we do this? So the advice that we give young people is sales is very important. Go out there, sell your business, sell yourselves. Do it, start. You have to start what you have in mind. Don't think of the bigger picture right now. Just start. As small as you are, you need to start somewhere. Yeah.
I like that. Yeah. To steal from another very famous brand, you say start, just do it. You're stealing from Nike there. Yeah, fantastic. Absolutely love that. Really, really do.
Yeah, and for me, just from what I do for a living, it's just that's inevitably, the thing that holds people back in the first place is they don't even start. They don't even get taking action. It's like, just do that one little thing. So, here we go, guys. Dinah and Lesego telling us exactly how to do it and how to get things done. Thank you so much for your time today. And I'm really looking forward to hearing about the ongoing success. And I'm going to be checking out, I don't leave the house much because of lockdown, but I'm going to be checking out those billboards, and wishing you guys ongoing success, and wish you both and your entire team a very best year ahead.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you for your time.
Sure. Absolutely the same comments from my side, Dinah and Lesego. And just remember that we're just a phone call away should you need to ask for any marketing related support or questions and things like that. We're here to contribute wherever we can from a support point of view as well.
Thank you. We really appreciate that.
Fantastic. Guys, thank you so much. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Cheers for now.
Brilliant.
Cheers.
Okay, that's fantastic. Really appreciate it.
Just to encompass that, Craig, I just want to sort of collect that again for everyone listening. Lesego Seloane and Dinah Kgeledi from Renowa. How do you say that? Renowa. Ronewa Creations. I want to get it right. So if you guys go and search it, go and check it out online. Ronewa Creations. And that's who we've been listening to about their wonderful success story. Craig, so in closing, our ending of our discussion today, what tips do you have to share with us, with the listeners on this truly inspiring conversation today?
Yeah, there have been some wonderful little tips there, Kevin. I've made a few notes here, and I'm actually going to start with the last one that we just spoke about is, start. Just do it. Start. The beginning is very important. I really love that point of reference. And, when you start, understand the role that sales plays and that sales are important. Other key points here is just really thinking beyond the main offering. And when you're thinking beyond the main offering, you're ensuring that you understand the potential pitfalls, but at the same time, the potential opportunities, and therefore you build longevity and sustainability into your business. And that really, really is great. I think important point again is the understanding of the ladies to pick up on maintenance contracts while the market has shifted based on the situation of COVID. The building industry has ground to a halt in many instances. The work from home scenario is fundamentally changing the view of corporate real estate. So I think a lot of the building contracts would be in a hiatus state. And it's really getting that annuity income in place through maintenance type contracts. So really great insight in there in adjusting their business for that. Startups are not child's play. Absolutely. Share the knowledge. And this goes for every single one of us in this particular role as well. If you've got knowledge, if there's an opportunity for skills transfer and sharing knowledge for the betterment and enablement of enabling somebody else to grow, that's our duty and responsibility as human beings, and particularly on this in this country is, in a moment where everybody's looking for jobs and out there, share the knowledge and give somebody else the hand up. It really is important. Mentorship, skills transfer, vitally important. And just the closing point, being a sustainable citizen, such an amazing, powerful statement. That be sustainable in your thinking, in your acting, in your being. And that includes not tossing the cigarette butt out the window, not throwing the empty chip packet and cool drink bottle out the window. It's about being considerate in every single sphere of your existence. And I've got in the corner of my apartment here boxes for separation, for recycling on a weekly basis. But just sustainable thinking as a citizen makes you a good citizen to your community.
I love it. Craig, as we wrap up today's conversation, what are we chatting about next week?
Yeah, Kevin, thanks. I think I'd like us to showcase more of Africa's locally developed and produced brands. And I want to have a look at what are the initiatives that are in place to support more of these brands. And then just to have a look at what's happening globally. Are there any cues and clues that other communities in other parts of the world are doing to sustain and support their locally produced brands, and what learnings can we bring to the local community here?
Fantastic. Thank you, Greg. So thanks for today's conversation, guys. If you want to catch us, it's happening every Thursday at 12 on ebizradio.com and all your major podcast channels today. Thanks for the chat, and thanks for this wonderful conversation. I loved it.